Hey, gang. I'm excited. You're excited. We're back for another session of the School Culture and Climate Show. Here we
Yes.
go. Here we go. Hey, my name's Steve Bowler, also known as Stand Tall Steve.
And I'm Megan Deedy.
And we are back for another season. I believe this is like season 5 overall. I know we switched up the name. It used to be the Stand Tall Leadership Show. And now it's the School Culture Climate Show, but we're excited about this.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good season.
It is going to be a good season. We got a lot of great things that we've planned out for the season to really help everybody with their culture, climate, relationships, connectivities in your schools, K-12 schools. But we've had a very interesting summer. The summer's been good. Been good for you, Meg?
Yeah, it's been really busy. It's been really good.
Yeah. Mine's been good as well. We've had some really good things going on. We've done some good speaking at some good spots. Where have you been?
Well, let's see. We were in Nashville. We did that. We did some stuff with Wyoming and Laramie. Kind of just all over, some virtual things. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, we had some good stuff too. We both were in Nashville together. That was a nice big one, ISS conference, and that was good. I did closing keynote. That lineup that they had,
that was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. Mark Scherenbrock opening. They had Joe Sanfilippo, who's in the middle.
Gary Brooks was there.
Gary Brooks was there, and then me and Steve Spangler closed it out.
Yes.
Like,
bam.
Boom, bam. Mic drop kind of a situation. We had such a great time with that. So that was good. And we're looking forward to some more things going up into the upcoming school year,
Yes, absolutely.
And at the end, we'll talk about some things that we're going to do and things that are coming up. But so let's get into this.
Yes.
Because, when this is coming out, it's the start of the school year for a lot of schools. So what is our topic for this episode, Meg?
This one's going to be great for back to school. It's back to school, back to culture.
There you go. Back to school, back to culture. Making sure that you're starting the school year off strong, setting the tone for the culture that's taking place throughout the school year. Now, let me preface all of this with, when we're talking about this, culture, not only the culture for the school building, we're talking the culture for the classroom, the culture for the cafeteria, the culture for the building, or the culture for the district. Because there's subcultures that are all over the place, right? I mean, they're everywhere. And we want to make sure that those things are solidified well into the rest of the school. I always say people remember how things start and how things end. Alpha, omega. I think I have an article out there, a blog post about this. Yeah. People, how it starts and how it ends. So we want to make sure that we're starting off strong.
And I think it's so important when you start with that solid foundation of what your culture is, your expectations, especially in your classroom and your building, that you're setting yourself up for success for the rest of the year.
Yes. And a lot of times, now here you go, been in administration, been in schools, education for a while, especially when you have an administrative team or a teacher team that's been around a while, and they just say, well, everybody knows. Well, they know this is how we are. No.
They probably forgot.
Yeah, they probably forgot. I mean, you got to take the time to make sure it is reestablished and reestablished positively and well. So let's look at this from your perspective, Meg. Classroom teacher. When you talk about that classroom, setting expectations, setting the culture of what it's going to be moving forward, what are those things that you dove into to make sure that those things happen?
So it kind of is one of those things I used to tell my husband all the time, that don't talk to me until October, because that's when I felt when the kids finally understood what we're doing in the classroom. And I got to thinking, this is taking too long. We got to start right away. So the very first day of school, we're starting with experiences. We experience first, talk second. And we're setting up the expectations in our classroom through experiences on how to do things the way we want them done in the classroom. How do we get materials? How do we line up? How do we do this? And I think that it's so important for our students to experience what we expect instead of just sitting down and telling them, because they're going to forget, and it just feels the relationships that you're building with your students just come naturally, and that culture in your classroom starts on day one.
Yeah, and you're so right. And it's not just elementary, because you did speak, teach elementary, and of course you have to establish those things. But I know even at the middle and the high school level, they think, oh, the kids should know this by now, right? And then they blame the lower grades if they don't. Well, what did they teach you in elementary school? They didn't teach you how to do this. Stop. You need to set the expectations even at the middle school and high school level. Don't assume that they get it. Don't go over it just once. You have to go through the process. Now, one of the things, go ahead, man. What?
Okay. But you just got done saying just a minute ago that we have to remind our veteran teachers about how to do the things in our building. And then we're expecting our kids to just know how to do certain things, like walk down the hallway or find a pencil, or whatever those things are. We're not going to, as adults, we don't remember. We have to be told and reminded.
Exactly. Now, here's the other thing. It's like a lot of middle schools and high schools are what? Departmentalized.
Yes.
So unless you are that tight that you've all got together within your team, your department, your school, that everybody's doing the same kind of expectations and the same procedures, exactly the same, these kids are going in, especially at the high school, 6, 7, 8, 9 different classrooms that have different ways of doing things. You can't expect them to just flow into that automatically. You got to set the expectations, and you got to give them the experiences to do this. One of the things that I teach when I go out, I talk about the EDGE method. The EDGE method. Now, my son is an Eagle Scout, and in the Scouts, they use this thing called EDGE method in order to teach the Boy Scouts, or it's not just Scouting America now, the Scouts, how to teach younger Scouts how to do things. So the EDGE method, it stands for explain, demonstrate, guide, enable. Explain, demonstrate, guide, enable. So when you're setting these expectations of what it is that you want at the beginning of the year, first thing you're going to do is you're going to explain it. Hey, everyone, this is the way that we want you to walk into the classroom. Let's talk about middle school, because middle school kids come barreling in a classroom in a heartbeat. Like they'll hitting the top of the door frame. Yep. Oh, just crazy. This is how I want you to walk into the classroom. You're going to line up outside of the door, make sure that I am in the classroom. You're going to be welcomed in. As you come in, don't hit the top of the door, go directly to your seats. And on the front of the board, there's going to be a do now. So take your things out, do the do now, blah, 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 blah. Demonstrate. Okay, everybody, come into the hallway, watch me. And then you actually demonstrate how to do it. Guide. All right, your turn. I want you guys to line up in the hallway here. I want you to walk in. I want you to sit down and get the do now out, go through it. Then explain, demonstrate, guide, enable. I'm going to enable you to do it. By doing that, does that increase the probability of success?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Does it take more time? Yes, but it increases the probability of success. And you're giving them an experience of how to make that happen.
Yes, they have to move their bodies. If you're asking them to do something that involves movement, give them the opportunity to move their bodies to do the thing that they're asking them to do.
Exactly. That's how this happens, gang. And please take the extra time. And here's the thing. I know that, okay, administrators, I'm going to talk to you guys. You guys are putting the pressure on the teachers. Start on that curriculum. We got to get the information going. Start the teaching. We have goals that we need to reach. The benchmark testing is coming. Come on, guys.
I know. But here's the thing. If you don't have a solid foundation in what you expect, then you can't, the content's not going to come. And it's going to be something where they're not ready. You're not ready. And then you're waiting until October to get it started.
Yes. Oh, and then you just wonder why you haven't established everything well.
Right.
Now, I know one of the things that we talk about and we teach, and you did it in your classroom, is identifying very clearly what it is that you respect and value in the classroom, in the school, in the district. And here's the thing, we're talking about classroom management, we're talking about building management, we're talking about setting an environment best for students to learn and teachers to teach. So instead of thinking of it as classroom management, I think of it as developing a culture, and you anchor that culture around what you respect and value. And you have to find out what that is. How about you, Meg? How did you do this, in identifying that respect and value piece in your classroom?
Well, I kind of took it from your idea, and I was thinking, if they're doing this building level, district level, why can't we make this classroom based? Because, you know, you have goals at what you respect and value at your building, but sometimes your classroom looks a little bit different when you're in those four walls. And so we developed the big three. So the very first day of school, we have the big three, and we talk about what we want our classroom to feel like, look like, sound like. And the students are saying all the words, all the feelings. And of course, me as the teacher, we're guiding them to what we actually want them to say or have an idea around. And the big three are the things that we hone into all the time. So maybe it's respect, perseverance, and helpful. And that's posted everywhere in our building or everywhere in our classroom. And we hold to those words all year long, all the time. And what happens is now students in October are talking to each other about, hey, I really liked how you went through that math problem. You really persevered. That's what we're about in Mrs. Didi's class. And what happens is students are holding each other accountable for that. The culture in our classroom just feels so warm and family. And I think that's when students are able to start taking risks. And that's when your curriculum starts to happen. And that those test scores just go up naturally.
They do, because they're vested into this. And this happens, when do you start this? Day one, day two, day five, day one.
Day one, we're talking about, what do you want this to look like? Okay, but let's preface, the next day we go back and we review. What do we think about these words? They're coming in, they're excited. We got new school supplies. So
right.
we need to look at this again. But within the first week of school, we already know what we're about. And I'm constantly telling them, you know, if you're going somewhere and you're expecting your students to walk quietly in the hallway, you're tying it to those three words. What makes sense for that? And they just hear it again and again and again.
And here's the thing, gang. All right, listen carefully to this. Culture is nothing more than a fancy word for traditions. That's what culture really is. Culture is the repetition of behaviors and operations and communication over time, again and again and again. That's what culture really is. So therefore, what Megan just shared with you, how you have these three words, which are your big three words, your anchor words, and you're saying it again and again and again and again. You're constantly reiterating it over again. You're highlighting when the kids are doing it over and over again. It's the repetition of it. It turns into culture. That's right. Fill in the blank. That's how this works. And so again, this happens at the middle school level, the high school level. It can happen at a building level. It can happen at a district level, identifying what you collectively respect and value, and then go from there. And I know that, and let's say this, hopefully none of your students are listening right now, but you go through this with the kids, but you kind of guide them along a little bit. Outcome, right?
You know, you think like elementary, they're thinking like, we don't want to bully, you know, things like that. They're going to say phrases of things, but then you just kind of put them together into a word. And what's really great, my favorite thing, is when they start picking it out in each other. So you have those turkeys in your classroom, right? We all know who those kids are. They're going to push the buttons. They're going to see if you actually are going to talk about those words. The other kids start picking them out and saying, hey, we're actually helpful in this classroom, and you're not doing something that goes with our big three. And so they're helping each other in the classroom, which takes less off of me. And then those kids that are trying to push the buttons and have the behaviors, they're realizing what they're doing really isn't working and getting the response, and the behaviors go down.
There you go. And this works at the middle and high school. I keep saying this again because I mean, it's a perfect example at the elementary. It really is. At the middle and high school, what ends up happening is if you establish what it is you respect and value. Now, here's the other thing I say to you at the middle and high school. Because you departmentalize and the kids are coming in and out, teachers, you pick it. You pick it. When they come to your room, you say to them, This is what we respect and value in this classroom. Be the adult, be in charge, you pick it. If you're self-contained, have more of the conversation. Or if you have a problem with that, you pick two, have the kids pick one. All right. So when they come in and you're constantly reiterating, refocusing, talking about what you respect and value again and again and again and again in the classroom, all right? Granted, the kids don't necessarily at the middle high school snitch or say you don't go with it, but the kids who don't fit into or are not following the continual routine of what you respect and value, they are going to feel like the odd person out. And they're going to get more, the probability of them getting in line increases significantly. That's how that works. And it's totally possible to do this, even if the rest of the building is not. The second they walk through the threshold of your door, that's what happens.
What's even better is then when your kids leave your classroom and maybe they're going to a different specials or lunch or whatever, but then when they leave the building and they're doing something out there, a field trip of some time, and they still are doing those things, and the adults that are there with them come back to you and say, wow, your classroom really did great. They're really respectful or whatever that is. And then you're telling your kids like, hey, when you weren't even in this room, you were doing what we're about. And they just get that sense of pride. And it's just such a good feeling.
It's a wonderful feeling. It is a good thing. Now, here's the thing with all of this. You know, you set up your big three or whatever those words are. You identify what you expect and value. And I've heard schools and places say, this is our cornerstones. These are our pillars. These are our values, whatever you want to call them. The big piece, and you said this, Megan, is this: you talk about it so often. You find as many different opportunities to bring it up again. Pause everybody in class, say, hey, did you guys see that? That goes with respect. That's what we respect and value around here. Cool. And then you just keep going.
Yes. You sound like a broken record, but you should. You should feel like you're saying it too much.
Yes, saying it too much. And don't be one of those educators like, well, the kids are going to think I'm weird. They're going to think. They already do.
Okay, you're not wrong.
I'm not right. They already do. Stop trying to be the cool teacher. They already think you're crazy. They already think you're weird. Embrace it. Embrace it. Say it again and again and again and again. Now, if you have a co-teacher, let's say you're someone who has a co-teacher that comes into your room, let them know. Let them know this is what we respect and value here. Please, part of the co-teaching process is to find as many opportunities for the kids that when they're showcasing this.
Yes.
Right? You have a substitute. All the subs in the building should know when they come to your room, this is what it is, and this it should be everywhere.
It's at the top of my sub notes.
Yeah. Oh,
about this, like right at the top. It's the header footer thing you talk about. It's in the header.
Yeah.
Hey, this is how you turn on the smart board. Remember, this is what my classroom's all about, and make sure that we stick to those.
That's it. Yes. And just so you know, the header footer thing, I had a thing when I was administrator. I told the teachers either in the header or the footer of any paper that you have should be what your big three is, what you respect and value. Put your name, put your contact information. Because this way, if a paper goes home or anything like that, parents will know this is what the school classroom's about. This is how I can get a hold of a teacher on any paper and stuff. So you're right. Have it absolutely everywhere. Yeah. Absolutely everywhere. All right. And the other side of this, and this is the stuff that you guys should know already, is the importance of developing what? Yes.
Relationships.
Get those relationships going. What are those relationship starters that you had? What are some of those things that you did?
You know, a lot of back to school things we have. So in integrated, we all talk about experiences, those multiple pathways to learning. So the first week of school, we're doing those experiences that build relationship, learning about each other. I want to learn about my students. We're having paper snowball fights. We're playing with Play-Doh. I mean, it sounds elementary, but you know what? Middle school and high school would love some of these things. Yeah. And when they're doing these experiences to build the expectation, we're also working on relationships, not only me with the students, but the student with the student, because they're collaborating together. They're talking about what should we do to make this paper chain, or what should we do to do this thing? And they're learning about each other, and it just is naturally happening instead of just the all about me paper, share it out. It feels better. You know, the culture in the classroom just feels more of a family starting out in week 1. and then they're more apt to share and learn with each other.
Yeah, and the thing is, you want to make it feel authentic, right? I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, something just kind of went through my head when you say that all about me paper. I mean, how many kids are going to be like, especially when you get to your middle and high school, especially your high school, oh, it's all about me paper. All right, I've filled this out 20 times throughout my school year, you know, my school life, and they just do it. And of course, you fill it out and then it's never referenced again.
No. Or
right?
the writing, like, what'd you do over summer? Write me a paragraph. You know what? That's so hard because some of our students that are coming in, they didn't have a good summer and they didn't go to the Bahamas like their friend did. So they have nothing, they think they have nothing to write about. And you've already broken the relationship before you even started. And so I think a lot of those things, if you're involving students in things at a level playing field, you can build those relationships. Then when it comes time, when their experiences are very different at home, it doesn't feel so hard.
Yeah, it doesn't feel so hard. Perfect. That's absolutely right. Find those authentic times, authentic things that you can do to really find out how to develop those relationships. And you have some amazing ideas with that. I know in my book, I have ideas. There's some cool things that are in there. 10-minute classroom openers book that I have. So please reach out to Megan or myself to find out and get some additional ideas to make that happen. And even at the building level, one of the things I always did is I have an assembly at the beginning of the school year, and I would make it fun, make it like a game show, make it like a fun, and the kids come up there. We have goofy questions and goofy activities. We do it in the gym. They're running back and forth, but it helps reinforce what it is that we respect and value. It develops relationships. It makes people feel good about it. And then you talk about it again and again. Pull in your school counselors. Have a follow-up lesson that the teachers can do in their classrooms once you have a building-wide activity or event to connect with it. And I know we're talking about the beginning of the year, but then let's fast forward at least to maybe after winter break. After winter break, I call it the State of the Union address. I bring everybody back into the gym or the auditorium again, and we go over everything all over again to reestablish the culture and climate, to make sure that everybody's in alignment with it so that you can have that awesome, great school year. And that's what it is.
Yeah. Starting strong.
Starting strong, right? That's what this is all about. Back to school, back to culture. That's what this is all about. Everybody's heading back. These are things that you can think about, and they're easy to do. Like, there's not a ton of planning involved with this, is it? I mean,
no. And you're having fun. It's okay to have fun. Like, let's do it. Let's do it. They're going to mess up. The teachers are going to mess up. We're going to forget. You know, you're going to have the sassy kids and the sassy educators walking in. But if you hit them with these things and you just constantly they'll be better. It'll be fine. Just go.
It'll just go. That's it. All right. So back to school, back to culture. That's what's up. That's it. All right. Hey, gang, other things that are coming up for us. I'm in the height of doing a lot of back to school stuff. We're doing a lot of back to school training, speaking in that aspect. We are going to be in Kentucky in September at a conference, right? For the Kentucky School Counselors Association. Yeah. We're not speaking there.
We actually have within our ranks exhibit booth that we're going to have for educators who are thinking about speaking, training, or consulting in this space. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm excited for it as well. That's going to be a good one. It's just, we've talked about it before. Within our ranks is training for educators who want to speak, train, or consult. We have our next retreat, which is happening in San Antonio, November 14th, 15th, and 16th. We're still getting more people to come into that. It's about halfway full. So
halfway full. Yep. Seats are filling up.
So if you're interested anyway, please go to withinourranks.com and you can sign up to get a discovery call and see if you fit. Because again, we don't bring in just about anybody. You got to go through the discovery call, and I'm pretty sure you can make it in. If you're dedicated, you have 10 years of experience in education in some way, I'm sure you'd be all about that. You can do that. All right. So that's it. All right, Meg. This was another good one. I love this. Right?
Yes. I'm excited for our educators to give this one a go.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited about it as well. And then we have other episodes coming up, vision, mission, values, and some other things. And then we'll keep it moving here on the School Culture and Climate Show. All right. Thanks so much for your time, Meg. I'll
All
talk to
right.
you later.
Thanks, Steve. Talk later.
Bye.